Welcome to Arc Salt Lake on this Wednesday morning. Time right now, 7 o'clock. We want to start by showing you a picture or a live image from one of our UDOT cameras near the Great Salt Lake. You can see water in the distance, but if you've been out to the lake anytime recently in the past few years, you know that shoreline is farther and farther out. That is the topic of our first interview this morning. I am joined by Josh Romney, chairman of the nonprofit Great Salt Lake Rising, a group that wants to help grow and preserve the lake. Josh, thank you for waking up early and coming in this morning.
Yeah, thanks, Lincoln. Happy to be here.
Great Salt Lake Rising. If people have not heard of that, let's start there. What is it?
We're an organization. Our sole focus is to get water back to Great Salt Lake. So we are everything we do is about getting actual wet water back into the lake as fast as possible.
This is your idea, right?
Yeah, so I was working, I've been looking at the lake and studying the lake for a long time, and then realized we just weren't moving fast enough as a state. And so I looked at trying to get the business community involved and active, and started an organization to do that. So far this year we've raised about $40 million and put about 100,000 acre feet of water back into the lake. What
was the driving force for you, like the motivating factor to, I mean, everyone's thinking about it, but not everyone's doing anything.
Yeah, I didn't think it was something, I never would have imagined this is something I would have taken up. So I just felt like I was in a position to be able to do it. I looked around, I didn't see anyone else standing up and doing it, and felt like this was just one of those moments where I had to take a little bit of time. I didn't realize how much time it was going to take. It's actually become essentially my full-time job. It's pretty much all I work on now. It's I think about it. I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about new ideas or different things we can do to get water to the lake. But it is I just didn't see anyone else doing it, so I felt like it was a role I had to step into.
When did it start? When did Great Salt Lake?
So we are essentially about at the beginning of the year. So we're a relatively new organization. I will say there are a lot of other really phenomenal nonprofits working on the lakes. There's a lot of people working on it. We've been partnering with all them, and it's really helped us get a big head start.
Any progress made in the less than a year you've been operating?
Yeah, so one of the big deals, we worked with the state to buy U.S. magnesium water, which is about 80,000 acre feet of water, which is fantastic. We have 4 or 5 other big deals that are all going to be coming in that's getting water to the lake. So I think at the end of this year, we'll be over 100,000 acre feet just this year that we've delivered to the lake. The problem is we need to get to 1 million. So we have a long way to go to get the lake stabilized and rising, but we're making progress.
What's that million number? Why is that a key metric there?
So we've had a lot of people looked at it to figure out what the lake is going to take to rebound. It looks like we need about 500,000 acre feet to keep it stable. So once we add about 500,000 to where we are now, the lake will stop declining. But then to fill it up, we need about another 500,000 acre feet to really start filling it up. So, and if we don't do that soon, the problem just gets worse and worse. And so we need more than 1 million acre feet. So the sooner we act, the more likely we are to succeed.
Are you optimistic?
I am very optimistic. The reality is, if the cost to do this is about $300 million a year. That, if you think about the Utah state budget, that's about 1% of the state budget. So relatively small. We also have the federal government that's willing to help and a lot of nonprofits. It's not going to take a lot of money. In the grand scheme of it, $300 million is a lot for an individual, but for a state, it's not very much money. I mean, we absolutely need to bring more attention, more focus on it. The state needs to spend more. They need to do a lot more. They're not spending a lot right now because they haven't seen a plan. But we do have a plan. The $300 million number really does work. It gets us to about 1 million acre feet by the time the Olympics roll around, and really does help stabilize the lake and get it rising.
How do low water years factor into this? Because that's something that you don't have a whole lot of control over, essentially.
No, it's really hard. I mean, there are a couple things at play. One, we do have an abundance of water in this valley. So if we use it properly and we sent a lot more of it to the lake, even in a dry year like this, the lake would be stable or potentially increasing. The challenge is we use too much water. So, but if you look kind of long term, to keep the lake stable, we need about 130% snowpack every year. So we're not in a position to just kind of hope that we have some wet years and the lake will recover. If we don't perpetually get 130% snowpack at this point, the lake will continue to decline. So we have to make some changes. The way we're living right now isn't sustainable. We're simply using too much water. We don't need to make big changes. We need to change your life. Everyone doesn't need to tear out their lawns. It's minor changes. People overwater lawns on average 50%. So we just need to cut back, not all that, but if we get 25-30% savings in their lawn, that's a huge savings. We need to work with agriculture. We need to work with, there's drainages all over the lake that are getting into the lake, which is amazing to me. So in the 80s when we were flooding, We actually built some dams and different things to stop water going into the lake, and those dams are still there. So we need to take them down and get water going back to the lake. So there's a lot of things we can do, and we just need movement. We need it to happen quick.
I've been back in Utah for about 5 years now. I've covered several stories on the Great Salt Lake. I've certainly seen an increase in attention on both sides of the aisle. All political parties realizing, okay, we need to save this. Maybe there's disagreements about exactly what to do here and there. Do you believe enough's being done politically in Utah to kind of achieve this goal?
I think I'd say I answer two things on that. One, I don't think any state has moved as fast on water policy and rights as the state of Utah has. So we've moved massively in the last 5 years. I mean, it's been really pretty dramatic in terms of agricultural water use, residential water use. The state's done a really, really good job. Having said that, we have a long way to go. We're not even close. The state does need to be spending $100 million a year on saving the Great Salt Lake. And right now, we see they're spending more money on mule deer population than they are on Great Salt Lake. And that needs to shift. We need to be spending more on Great Salt Lake. It needs to be a high priority. This is one of those issues. If we don't solve it, we see economic collapse. We see a population decline. This is a huge, huge problem that we simply don't pay enough attention to. I think sometimes the problem is so big that people just almost want to ignore it. It's like, well, that is such a big problem. I can't even, I can't deal with it. And to be honest, up to this point, we haven't had a great plan on what it's going to take, the financial commitment it's going to take. And we have had some incredible groups come together, put together a financial model that say, hey, this is what it's going to take. This is how much money it's going to take. This is where the money needs to go. And if we do that, we can save the lake relatively quickly.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think one key victory in the past few years has been before water going to the lake was seen as a waste.
Right.
Now that's no longer the case.
Yeah.
But in your opinion, do you still think that water is being, wasted out there because it's not going to the lake when it could be going to the lake?
Yeah, I think, we just have to change mentality across the board. So I think a lot of people just don't understand the importance of Great Salt Lake still, even though we've made a lot of progress. And there's a lot of things that people don't understand. Indoor water use, by the way, so people, hey, turn your showers down. Indoor water use is just fine. Almost all indoor water use goes back to the lake. So we actually say flush your toilet twice for the Great Salt Lake, let it flow. Indoor is great. It's the outdoor water use that's really, really damaging. In particular, the lawns. So, planting trees is helpful. Having, native vegetation is helpful. We don't want to see, just xeriscape like rocks and everything. It's like actually vegetation is good and healthy, but if it's native vegetation, that's really good. And then we need to continue to work with agriculture to say how do we help you conserve more water. And a lot of the things we've done so far haven't worked very well. Converting everyone off of flood irrigation to sprinklers wasn't super effective, believe it or not. That didn't help a lot. We spent a lot of money doing it, but didn't really move the needle a lot because flood irrigation turns out actually gets a lot of water back to the lake.
Okay.
So there's things we're learning, and a lot of processes that have been expensive, expensive lessons to learn, but we're learning them. And now we do have a really good plan to try and get water back.
Is the burden more on, I guess, homeowners out there, property owners, or agriculture, or is it shared equally?
Yeah, the reality is neither can fix it alone. So if we just say, hey, agriculture, go fix it, they don't have enough water to fix it. And the reality is, if you look at agriculture and say, hey, you're going to fix all this, it's their livelihood. This is how they make money. To say, hey, cut back your water use 50, 60%, which is more than they need to. But let's say we ask them to cut it back 50%, that would be devastating to them financially. So if, anytime we work with agriculture, we need to look at how do we make it a net neutral for them or potentially net positive so they can make more money. On residential, there really is no impact to say, hey, your lawn's going to be a little bit browner in August and September. You don't need it to be fluorescent green. In fact, you should be embarrassed if your lawn is fluorescent green in September and August. It's like you're using too much water. So, it is going to take, but again, residential couldn't do it alone. So we need everybody working together. We need industrial, we need residential, we need the farmers. Everyone has to be at this together, and everyone has to make some sacrifices. The good news is once we get it filled up, we can start using a little more water, and we'll generate more water. That's the beauty of the Great Salt Lake. When it's full, it generates more water, and that's one of the challenges we have now, that it's emptying out, is it's not generating the water it once did. So we have to buckle up a little more than we would normally have to.
All right, Josh, where can people go for more information?
So GreatSaltLakeRising.org. We have a lot of information there, and I think one of the big things we'd say is just cut back your water use, talk to your legislators, your local legislators, make sure they understand how much you care about it, and really get active and involved if you can.
I really appreciate you coming in this morning. I know it's a topic everyone's interested in, so thank
Yeah.
you for stepping up and trying to do something.
Thanks, Lincoln. Appreciate it.